Hello folks and welcome to Tippcast with myself, Shane Stapleton, joined as ever by the head of sport and Anina Guardian, Shane Brophy, and delighted to say we have Dan Quirke on to us to talk about the Dylan Quirke Foundation match between Limerick and Tipperary this coming weekend. Shane, we're back for 2024. We might as well acknowledge that there's another big year coming and countless teams to talk about.
Absolutely, yeah, sure. It is, in terms of success, we didn't have an awful lot last year, so hopefully this year will be a lot different.
Yeah, it's miserable stuff for Tipperary in the last year or so, Dan, isn't it?
It has really, yeah. Look, we were all hoping we'd kick on, I suppose, from when Liam Carroll came in, but we're in a difficult position. Trying to get out of Munster is very, very difficult, and even looking forward to 24, who knows who'll come out of Munster? It's a tough place to be in.
Yeah, sure. Shane, look, we'll start off with the Dylan Quirke Foundation match this weekend. Can you just give us the details for anyone who hasn't quite heard about it yet? But I'd imagine word has travelled far and wide around Tipperary and beyond at this stage.
Yeah, sure. I suppose maybe I let Dan probably go through it as well. But I suppose, look, it's the second annual game, I suppose, to raise money for the foundation, and I suppose in terms of health screening or screening our young players for health. For health or heart defects, and I suppose, Dan, you've already started the process. I think you had up to 200 done recently. So how have the early stages of the screening process has gone?
It's gone very well. We screened in Clonolty and Holy Cross and Nina before Christmas. We'll be screening next Saturday in Patrickswell and the following week in a hand in Limerick. Going into February, then we hope to do 14 screenings, and we do 45 at a time. 14 for February, 20 for March, 25 for April, and we really kick on then during the summer. The aim is to get between 5,000 and 7,000 done this year, so we're well on the way to doing that. The support we've got has been great. We've had numerous clubs want to get it done. Once we went out there, we were doing it all. It's just a case of keeping up with the amount of clubs that need to get it done. But look, it has been a success so far, and we know if you look at what happened in Italy, they started this 20 years ago, and it's now mandatory. You cannot play sport at any age from 12 upwards unless you're screened. And that's our aim, and that's where we hope to get. And in time, I think we'll get there.
I just wonder, in terms of GDPR, do you get, is the foundation allowed to get feedback in terms of anybody that has seen an issue arise, or is that just anything that crops up is just private?
What happens? So we do the screening, right? So what you have is you have a physical examination, you have an ECG, and you have a cardiologist report. And the history is taken. All that information is taken on the day. It goes back to a cardiologist, then with AMS in Cork. And if there are any issues, then the parent is contacted. So we're not contacted. But obviously the parent is contacted and they take it from there. Now, since we started, I've had feedback from parents tend to ring me. We've had, I'd say, 12 or 13 have come back with little issues since we started. Now, they haven't all been screened, but because of the foundation, they've gone on their own basis and got screened. So there have been issues, and the issues have been sorted. So far, it's been a success, and it's great to hear that back. It's good stories, you know.
Mm-hmm. And from your point of view, Dan, I mean, what has this voyage been like, this journey been like, doing this, and like, you know, you've gone through a really tough time, as have your friends and family. Like, what has this kind of done in terms of like feeling like, okay, I want to do something now?
Well, I try to explain to you. So obviously, when Dylan passed, to lose a child, lads, is just it's outrageous. You know, there's a huge void left there. Obviously, that I don't know how long this is going to take to get over. I just don't know. But even without the void, it's a loneliness you get yourself when you love someone so much and you lose someone so young in a place where no one expects it. I suppose when he passed, we were all in shock, and we just looked into this sudden adult death syndrome, and we said, look, we have to do something, and there's nothing being done in the country like it should be done. So at that stage, early December, we said we'd start the foundation. We didn't know where it would lead to be honest, but it has grown legs, and it's just the support all over the country and outside the country has been phenomenal. So we've taken that on board. Our aim, we have a 5 to 7 year project. And the project is to make sure this is government funded and government backed. So at that stage, and we'd be able to step back, and it would be a legacy for Dillon, and we'd be finished. And really, I think when you start different charities, they can go on and on and on. But I think we have to relax, man, and we need to get this done. And once we get the government, as I say, involved, we'd step back, and we're hoping that to be done within 5 years.
Mm. Just in terms of the screening, do clubs approach you, or how does it work?
So initially we approached clubs, right? That was only for the first month or 6 weeks. We've actually now to take on someone part-time within the foundation, because clubs are coming to us, and there's a bit of organisation done, because you've got to get onto the secretary. They've got to send out a circular out to their parents, and then they've got to fill the forms and so on. But no, the clubs are contacting us. I'd say we have upwards of 100 clubs looking to be done now all over the country. So we're full blessed now. AMS, Advanced Medical Services in Quirke, are doing the screening for us. They have 8 teams that we can send out. In the summertime, we will have 8 teams out there during the week getting this done. So it's really taken off.
Mm-hmm. So you'll go to each club rather than clubs going to a central location?
Well, the idea, first of all, was that we might go to centre of excellence in each county, but it's just not working, because centre of excellence are very busy places, particularly on a Saturday. And then during the week when kids are off school, they'll be very busy. So at the moment, we're kind of taking maybe Clonmel for Tipperary, be Clonmel for South Tipp, Nina for North Tipp, something like that. And the same in Limerick and different counties. That's what we're going to do, hopefully.
Mm. And from my point of view, Dan, I've seen before, like from our own family, just watching, the community gather around you. And like we had that brilliant fundraiser for Amanda in 2018. Tipperary against Kilkenny. And I'm just asking you, what was it like for you last year when typical Kilkenny got together in Semple Stadium? And that's what you're going to get again this weekend with Limerick. But what was it like to feel that support around you?
That was amazing. It's hard to fathom the support you get. Like, what's happening to us, fundraisers been done all over the country. It's just hard to fathom it. A small little one there, I'll tell you about a couple of them. Feathert Ladies Gaelic Football do a split the bucket every second week. I've been doing it for 18 months, and Michael Spillane contacted me about doing it for Christmas for the foundation. So they'd roughly raised €1,500, but on this occasion, on the Christmas one, they raised 11,000, and 6,000 went to us and 5,000 went to the winner. But the winner was actually Mouse Morris, the horse trainer. So Mouse said all he wanted was a defibrillator in his yard. So that was done. Obviously, he sent back $4,000 to the ladies football club, and they'd given that to us. They wouldn't keep it. So we've got 10,000 of that fundraiser, and this is happening all over the country with various different clubs and stuff. So the support is what keeps us going, because I'm at it 24/7. Well, at the moment, I'm just getting out jerseys. We ordered 200 Limerick jerseys, and we had them in there on Monday. I put them live on Tuesday at 1 o'clock, and they were all gone last night. It's crazy, and we've ordered another 300 for the match Sunday. So it's hit the heart of people all over the country, which is great for us. And look, please God, it'll be a success. And doing these shows and meeting you guys and talking to you, everybody's been supportive. And Shane, you've gone through it. It's horrible, but support will get you there in the end. And we feel it will anyhow,
I suppose like there's probably an ill wind in terms of the game this weekend. The fact that Limerick have had the last couple of matches postponed, and probably there's a lot of itchy feet in Limerick supporters to see them play. And like they're probably Tipp fans. We haven't seen a lot of Tipp's frontline players so far, and like we're a week out from the start of the league, so you're probably going to get 2 pretty strong teams on Sunday.
I think we will. I said it all. We play Dublin the following Sunday, and we need to be ready going to Parnell Park. We need to be loaded, really, don't we? Yeah. And I'd say Limerick are the same. I don't know who Limerick plays Sunday week now, but I know it's
actually in Semple Stadium. They've moved it from Limerick. So. Yeah. I've
been talking to John Kiley. They want to come up and bring up a good team, and Liam obviously wants to do the same thing. And as you say, it's the first match of the year. Touch wood, the weather focus is quite good at the minute. If we get a good day, I think we'll get a good crowd. But it'll be helpful later. Like we need to, I suppose, Tipperary need to sit down and marker, don't we? Like we're not sure where we're going. We seem to have younger fellas coming on. We still have the older guys there, but we're kind of in between us where we need to be, really, aren't we?
And Dan, when in terms of the preparation for this match, you mentioned talking to John Kiley there. What's he been like to interact with in the lead up to this?
He's been phenomenal. all of Limerick. Mike Reardon is their secretary. The players, Declan Hannon did a video for the jersey. It's amazing the support outside of Tipperary. They've all been very helpful. But John Kiley is a class man. He's given us various different occasions. He's helped us. He's also a board member of the foundation, which is great. We've got great guys, and you probably know the guys: Henry Shefflin, Joe Brawley, Joe Canning, Niall Quinn. We've got super guys, and that's been great for us because we actually have a national launch on the 14th of February in Dublin, a media day. So I think that'll kick us out. We're actually starting to screen in Dublin. So all these people have been a great help. When you've got good guys, you have a great chance of going over. Good girls, we have a great group, and that's great for us.
And then just in terms of the jerseys, I'll just bring them up on screen here.
Yeah,
like it must be just brilliant to see, those jerseys in many ways, and even just that iconic image of the helmet being held up. Like, what would that mean to you, seeing that?
It means everything. Like the foundation logo is a super logo. Where would you get anything like that? Like, I don't know where that came from when we won, as you know, like the county final in 2018, the tough match against Nina, as you know. That was a nice one to win, and that came from that day. Where that photograph came, it's iconic, as you can see. But and even my daughter Kelly and her boyfriend Owen, they kind of designed the jerseys. The jerseys are fabulous looking, and with the logo on it. Like, we will have all county jerseys going out in the next 3 months. But as you say, like, they are iconic, and the logo in itself is just amazing. It's been a great help to us.
Just in terms of, I suppose, the work of the foundation, I suppose, being heavily involved, and I know you said you're full time in it. Like, how beneficial has it been to you in terms of, I suppose, in terms of your grief, and I suppose staying close to Dylan? Like, you probably feel that through this work, he nearly feels alive to you.
Sure, he does. Yeah, you're dead right. Yeah, should work. Yeah, it's great. Like, jerseys, everything. I speak in schools just about, not just about the foundation, but heart issues or heart to fix. It's been great because, as you know, GA was his life, and he loved hurling, and he loved out, and he loved a great bit of fun, and I'm having great times with this. It has been a huge help to me because honestly, I don't know how I'd have managed without it. I couldn't have seen myself in this position 18 months ago. I know you get strength when something happens like this, but no, it has been phenomenal, and it is great. I kind of like to keep Hazel and the girls kind of stay back in the background. They find it a little bit more difficult, but for me, it is everything, and it keeps me going from day to day.
Do you feel? I'm just wondering. Have you the same love for hurling now that you did before this happened? Like, do you find it hard to watch Clonalty or Tipp play now, or how do you feel about the game?
I did for the first couple of months, but God, you meet people when you go to matches, and they're all so supportive and they're nice. I look forward to it. I try to get as many games as I can. I found it hard to go to Clonalty matches last year. I didn't go to them, actually. I went to one match against Sarah's, and I was disappointed with the performance. And then things got squeaky bum time after that when we went to the relegation, but thankfully we survived. But no, I didn't go there. But I'll go this year, hopefully. But definitely the Tipp matches. I'm looking forward to Sunday and going to Parnell Park on Sunday week. Hopefully we can pick it up a bit and compete at the top. They have to get Limerick away from where they are. I suppose you need to be taken in Munster, really, wouldn't you?
Okay. And Dan, like, at the time we got Robert Byrne and Barry Hogan on the show, and they just told some great stories about Dylan, and just he seemed to be up for the crack and devilment at all times. Would there have been a lot of stories that came out of the woodwork that you were told about in relation to Dylan after all this happened?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Like, I travelled with Dylan. I travelled to the Lions with Dylan in 2017 to New Zealand for 3 weeks. It was a mighty crack. We had great fun. We went to rugby, soccer. We went everywhere together. But he was a blackguard. There's no question about it. He enjoyed it. But he was able to switch a button. Like, if he needed to be serious, he was able to do that. But we have some crazy stories I couldn't mention here now. Going back over a couple of years with Tipp with the lads, he was a jack of all trades, and he loved a bit of fun. And it was great to have that. Like, it was great for us to hear the stories afterwards. You know, Hazel thought he was a very quiet young fella, but that's not the case. He was able to enjoy himself, and it's just funny. He'd go out and he mightn't even have a drink or a pint, but he was as much fun without a drink as he would have a drink. And I know you might have. There was a lovely video circulated there after he passed about Dylan. It was a couple of minutes, but I might send on to you. But it was great stories, and it was great to hear, and it does keep us going. It's a great boost to us, you know.
And just in terms of back to the foundation, as I say, you're in time. You hope that this will be a government funded the screening. Like, on annually, how much do you need to raise every year to on an annual basis for the moment?
Our target is $1 million a year. Now we raised $1 million. We're gone over $1 million now, so our target is $1 million a year, and we have a lot of commercial partnerships in the pipeline which will keep that on. So we need a minimum of $1 million, and we're able to hit that target. Hopefully more, but yeah, that'll get us where we need to be. And we're having a Oireachtas meeting with the government in March. We're going to present in front of the Oireachtas. Yeah. We're fortunate enough obviously we're starting with GA, but we're going to venture into rugby. We're going to venture into all different sports. And funny enough, the sporting bodies have come to us. So it's nice to have them vying for us, really. It's a big advantage to us to have that. Obviously, I said we'll start with GA, but rugby's been on to us. The FAI, through Niall's contacts, have been on to us in various different sports. It's great.
Yeah, and I suppose you're probably thinking back to this game. Like, just say if you got 5,000 people in, that's 100 grand. You have people who can't go but might buy the €20 ticket or watch it online. Like every penny from the next Sunday and any aspect will be going. This is you could be a long way down the road towards this year's million after this weekend.
Right, absolutely. I think it's important to point out that all the funds that we raise will go to screening. Every single penny. We have 3 or 4 part-time staff, and we're fortunate enough to have a man called Declan Gleeson, who's from Quirke, but he's a property developer in Dublin. Declan is paying the wages of the staff for 2 years. So every penny, it's phenomenal. So every penny goes to screening. I think it's important when you have a charity that you can do that you're not wasting money on wages and what goes on in the background. That's great for us.
And then just one final thing before we let you go, Dan, you've been great with your time. Just any final message you might want to get out there for people who are looking to either go to the game or watch it on Clubber this weekend.
Yeah, listen, if you can't go to the game, as I said, we'll have buying a jersey, like as important funds are in the organisation, awareness is equally important. So by going on the show here today, the audience will get this. Parents must realise that their kids need to be screened. Now, I've found talking to guys within county teams about getting screened. Guys nearly don't want to get screened because in afraid there's anything there, they could be knocked up for 6 weeks or 6 months in Dylan's case in 2018. That's an issue. So I think trying to get them at a younger age, parents need to know their kids need to be screened. If they're involved in high-level sport at club level, they just need to be screened. And I would hope people will contact us. And if they want to go do it themselves, well and good. But just get your kids screened. That's the message for us, okay?
Yeah, look, I was talking to somebody. I think it was related to the screen that was in Nina Road before Christmas, and I think there was one parent that was concerned about their kid, and they couldn't afford to get them screened, and they were done, and they came back all clear, and just the relief and
that's it,
palpable. And for I suppose for any parent that maybe has a concern, and maybe if their own club isn't doing something that you could probably get in contact with you and you could pair them with an upcoming screen that's coming. So
absolutely, we're available all the time. Just contact the website, absolutely, and we're there to help. That's what I'm here to do now going forward, is to help in any way we can that parents won't go through what we've gone through.
Okay, well look, Dan, you've been brilliant with your time. Really, really appreciate you joining us, and best of luck with all your ventures going forward. Hope the match goes well.
Good, thanks lads. Talk to you again. See you soon. Bye.
Okay, great to have Dan Quirke on there. And as we said, you can either go to the match or you can buy it on Clubber as well, or buy a jersey. So definitely well worth supporting there. And even if we're to just look at the hurling match itself, really, Shane, it'll be the third outing, I suppose, in terms of there's obviously been challenge matches as well, but the Waterford games, we've seen that Tipperary lost that by 2 points, having been 9 behind, going down to 14 men and playing poorly, then really turned it around, played really good stuff, lost it late on. Then there was the performance in Nina against Kerry, which I think was a 14-point win for a finish. What have you noted from the first few games this year from Tipperary?
Well, I suppose the one thing is that I suppose a lot of probably the more experienced boys are being held back. Definitely the Waterford Crystal was about, or the Munster League was about experimenting. It was about probably filling out the squad maybe from probably what player 30 to 38. I don't know what the final figure will be, because I was just thinking back to the squad from last year. There's not going to be too many changes. Okay, you've Seamus Callan retired and Niall Marv retired, but Liam blooded about 11 players in championship last year. So you can easily forget that there was a lot of work done last year, and like, and a lot of new guys going in. So like it was about, I suppose, just beefing it up a small bit more. I suppose the likes of Sean Ryan did very well. I suppose the interesting thing was the trialing of Conor Bowe. Now he got a good few games at wing back before Christmas in challenge matches. So like they really seem to be set on getting in some ways a Kyle Hayes type player into the half back line, somebody with the athleticism to get forward and also get a score. Like, and there's no doubt when Conor Bowe gets going, Jesus, like he's a gazelle. Like, but look, there's going to be teething issues because being at the Kerry game, he was taken for 2 points going the other way, and there was a goal chance there too. But like, you're gonna, for a player who's not predominantly a defender, look, he's going to have to. There's going to be teething problems. Like, but look, I thought that worked pretty well. One thing I noticed, just the conditioning of the Tipp guys, just when they were doing the warm down against Kerry, was incredible. Like Conor Whelan is an absolute unit. Like there's so many of them. Like even Darren McCarthy, looking at him playing for Nina CBS, I know he's on the extended Tipp squad at the moment, but you can see Tipp really are beefing up a small bit. Like, so I would be thinking this Sunday against Limerick, I think we'll see a lot of frontliners back in. A lot of them played against Clare in the dreadful conditions last weekend in Nina, so I'd say to be looking forward to a firmer sod. And look, we need, I suppose they could do with a good hit out before going to Dublin on Saturday week, because like Dublin have had 3 good games in the Walsh Cup to get ready, and even though they lost to Galway last weekend, they seem to be motoring pretty well up to that.
Yeah, did you hear much about that Tipperary Clare game last week?
I didn't, because like I was in here in Nina and the conditions were just horrendous, so like I just know Tipp won, and the likes of Ronan Maher and John McGrath and Jake Morris all got a run, so obviously it was their first appearances in challenge games. So like the pitch was very, very soft. So I'd say as much you could get out of that game like that is probably attitude and desire. And look, I'd say to be hoping just to get a decent run out now next weekend.
Yeah, that's one of the pictures that appeared from it anyway. So you can see a couple of
there. I suppose to see Barry Heffernan in his back, and he looks in flying form as well. And yeah, it's just exciting. Some of the younger players, Andrew Orman, Sean Kennelly was one that I thought really caught the eye against Waterford and Kerry as well. So there's no doubt. I think we, like, as disappointing as last year finished, like if you were to look at it overall, you think Tipp are not in a bad spot, considering when Tipp were motoring well, they actually were unbeaten against the 2 best teams in the country last year. They went to Ennis and won, and drew with Limerick. I still think Limerick and Clare 1 and 2, even though Kilkenny got to the All-Ireland. I think Clare messed up that semi-final. So I still think at Tipp's best, they're able to go with Limerick and Clare. But I suppose the thing for Tipp this year is developing consistency, being able to hit their level every day to go out.
So I'm just going to ask you a little bit more about the Kerry game, which you were in at.
Yeah.
So I was watching it, and like you said, Conor Bowe wing back. So Luke Crowley, who, you know, I was keeping a special eye on him because I have him with the UCD freshmen. You know, he's a very promising player, and you know, both lads did a small bit of scoring, and you know, obviously, you know, as a wing forward, you're trying to get, wing back, you're trying to get forward, and as a wing forward, you're going back looking for balls. So they both made a nice impact on the game. But like, as you say, you know, you can totally see how he would make an impact playing at wing back. And between both games that I saw against Waterford and Kerry, he was really good at doing that sort of crossfield diagonal ball into the forwards. It's that appreciation of a forward, the type of ball that they would want in. So as long as he can get the tackling going right the other way, which is probably the thing he's not quite so used to in the half back line, makes total sense, because he's also a scorer from distance. Wasn't it against Limerick last year? Yeah. He came on and scored 2 or 3 points from distance. So it makes an awful lot of sense.
I often feel that 1 or 2 challenge matches a year, you should play your inside forwards in the half back line and vice versa, just for an appreciation of how, like, if you're playing in the back, you're not used to playing the forwards, and you just send in any old ball. You don't appreciate like how easy a backman can make it for his forwards if you send in good quality ball. And there's no doubt, like Bowe, especially on the diagonal ball, he was very, very good at that. And like Sean Kennelly definitely benefited from that as well. Like, so he was very, very good in the reading. I just feel an area where Tipp are still probably a little lax is making the ball stick when it goes into the full forward line. That's something Limerick do better than everyone's. Like, when the ball goes into Gallan and Flanagan, generally it sticks. Like, so I think that's one area that Tipp need to work in, is that when the ball is going in, it has to be nearly 90-10 or 80-20. Like, there's too many balls going in where you're giving the backman more chance than not to win it off the forward.
I suppose Dan Goggin was another inside forward for Kerry that did a little bit of damage as well. So, like, Tipperary are obviously trying to work it around the place, bring it up through the lines, because I mean, you know that most teams are going to sit back with 10 in their own half or maybe more when they don't have the ball. So whether people like it or not, you have to work it through the lines, try and score from distance a bit to draw the opposition out. Now, when it's not
easy on the eye this time of year on soft pitches, like so.
And I think that's the key thing, though. It's this time of year when it's blustery, it's tough. Like, you might try and hand pass a ball, it slows up. You know, you might have to turn, go back again, because it's just not going to flow at this time of year. But like this sort of stuff, if it's kind of working, if the players are understanding it and all of that, you'd imagine it'll be paying off when the ground firms up and the weather's that bit better.
Yeah, look, and a lot of people, like you would say, a lot of people when Tipp would like to see us play a traditional Tipp style. But look, you have to be able to prepare to play like more other teams and how they set up, especially the likes of Limerick and Clare. And we've seen how Kilkenny have evolved. Like, I think Kilkenny are probably playing the way that most Tipp people like to play. They've evolved, but they still have their own. Still play their own sort of gritty style too, like, if you know what I mean. They still take a chance of pumping an odd ball in long. So no, I'm fascinated to see how things go. Like, the first 2 rounds of the league are key, like away to Dublin and home to Galway. Like, if I would think the fact that Tipperary are the only major county not playing on the first weekend of the championship, I would think Tipp getting to a league, Tipp would probably be the one county who would like to get to a league final, just because they would have a 3-week gap then to their first game in Munster. So, and realistically, you're probably looking at, if Tipp beat Dublin and Galway, or at least win one of the two, to have a good shot of at least getting to a semi-final. And look, Dublin, Parnell Park, ultra tricky. But I think actually Liam Cahill is probably relishing the fact that it's not in Croke Park, because he knows he will find out that day who's up for the fight and who's not. Because, like, if you know Parnell Park very well, watching Dublin, like, they're just a different animal in there.
It should be a nice physical game. Any of the other newer guys, what have you thought? Mikey O'Shea's had a couple of chances full forward. Maybe hasn't totally worked for him just yet, but like, he'd probably be more effective a little later in the year. Keano Dwyer at wing forward. You already kind of mentioned Andrew Ormond. I think
Danny Slattery cornerback, I thought, in the 2 games was pretty tidy.
Cathal Quinn, I think, has shown some nice ignorance at corner, like driving out with the ball. I like him.
I think Cathal Quinn, I'd like to think he'll be retained, and mightn't see an awful lot of maybe game time in the championship, but just keeping him in there, because like, he definitely has the physical stature once he fills out. I like the look of, like, Gerard O'Connor looks like a guy that's kicked on to another level. So you'd be hoping that he would progress on another. Like, he probably will be the free taker for the early rounds of the league. Jason Ford, I don't think it's probably expected back till the Westmeath game in round 3. He actually had an operation and a thumb injury at the end of the club championship. So I think he was only hoping he said he might be back early round of the league, but I think it was around mid-February. So, no, like you're just hoping from an injury point of view, Craig Morgan gets a good run. Look, I just love to see what he does with Paddy Cadell. Like, I thought Paddy looked in incredible nick when he came back for the Brackens last year, and he found it hard to get a position with Tipp. I think he's ideal sort of in the Darragh O'Donovan role for that Limerick have. He'll use the ball very well. Like, he won't panic in possession. I'd love to see him maybe being that midfielder that would nearly cover as a fourth half back. Like, so, like, you have Barry Heffernan and you have Seamus Kennedy, you have Valentine. And like, I think Tipp are moulding things nicely. It's just maybe just up front, like, who's going to, with Jake Morris, Ford, Gerard O'Connor, who's going to be the other scorer? Like, Mark Keogh has blown hot and cold, I thought, in the Munster League. Will it be a Sean? Just the way Sean Ryan played against Waterford, I'd love to see Sean, if I was Tipp manager, I'd say, Sean, injury permitting, you're starting every league game here, and that he knows he's not looking for the sideline if things are going badly. That Justice was like, for us, he's not tall, but I don't know if you saw the Waterford game.
I did, yeah.
My God, he makes the ball stick when it goes inside. He's very, very good that way.
Yeah, Al, to be fair now, you've been head of his PR there for the last 3 or 4 years. You've wanted him in there. No, he is doing very well.
Yeah.
For a lot of that game, especially in the first half before Robert Byrne was given a straight red card, Tipperary were poor, weren't they? They were, I mean, Waterford were dominating around midfield. That youngster, Seamus Fitzgerald, he looks really, really good. One of a number of players to really bother Tipperary. I don't know, in a way, were Waterford not able to use the extra man, or did Tipperary raise their game? But if that second half performance hadn't to come, you'd be feeling very dour about what Tipperary are up to at the moment.
Probably, but in some ways, like Waterford are used to playing that style of hurling for years. Like, I just think you watch a lot of club hurling and Tipp. A lot of Tipp clubs don't play that style. Like I think we're one of the last counties to probably move to that possession-based game and trying to hold on to the ball. And it's just, I think it's a style of hurling that even a lot of our juveniles, where I suppose a lot of maybe our senior lads now never really played up along, and they're nearly having, while it's maybe our minors and under 20s are starting to, they're playing that way now for the last couple of years, and they're able, probably a lot of the younger guys are probably able to transition to that a little easier than maybe some of the older guys. So look, I suppose the manner, maybe Tipp opened the shoulders a small bit, because I thought maybe they were overly conservative in their use of the ball that day, and when they went down to 4, into the second half, when they went down to 9, they really opened up. And I suppose the disappointing aspect of that is when they got ahead, they didn't close it out. They panicked a small bit in terms of taking on bad shots and stuff like. So I suppose that's been an element maybe the last few years, that sometimes when Tipp get in winning positions, it's the other team that maybe get the lot of the shots off towards the end, like, or get the scores off. That maybe we just need that's probably the one element we need to learn from. Even, well, we didn't deserve to beat Galway last year. We probably had the opportunities maybe to win it against the head, and I suppose that's the sign of a good team, is being able to win when not playing well, and there's probably an element we have to develop it too.
So a couple of other things to bring up. I don't know, was there much talk about Craig Morgan had to go off against Waterford? Excuse me. Is he okay?
I think it was just more of a headbang. I think something just a precaution. In terms of injuries, there's no one else. I suppose Jason Ford with after the hand operation. I suppose I had a good chat with Liam Cahill after the Kerry game, and just going back to last year and things that have been learned. And I suppose one thing was that we probably did gas out maybe towards the end of the championship, and I suppose the likes of Noel McGrath, who was brilliant in the first 3 rounds, and he's probably influence waned off after that. So you're probably looking to maybe manage the likes of him and maybe Ronan Maher and Bonner Maher. Just you want Tipp. There's still key roles for the older guys, but like they can't be expected to motor every day. So look. So just to keep them fresh and like not overly play them in the league, even though probably as much as they want to play every day, but you sort of got to do what's best for the team. And like, I do think there's a fascinating conundrum coming up for the Tipp management when they play Limerick on the first round on the 28th of April, and 6 days later let's go to Waterford. Do you nearly have to have 2 teams picked or something? Because like, you're going to have to make changes one way or the other. You're going to have some element of freshness going in the second day against Waterford. Like you nearly want to know your team for the second day with changes, bar injuries. Because like we saw last year, it's very, very hard to back up 6 days later. Like
you certainly be talking about running the bench with 20 minutes to go, having an awful lot of lads on the pitch and trying to spare lads a little bit. Paul Tierney says, in my opinion, one of Tipp's real up-and-coming hurlers is Luke Shannon. However, in with the footballers seems to be the path now with Mikey O'Shea, for example. So we kind of said that before in terms of like, even from a strength and conditioning point of view, doing a year with the footballers, and that's not to talk down the footballers. You hope the best for the footballers.
Well, I would have thought Luke Shanahan and Danny Slattery were probably one of the 2 better performers for the Tipp 20s last year, and obviously maybe Slattery was the one that caught the eye of the management. Maybe they just didn't have the room maybe for two maybe guys in the same position. But like it's I suppose it did Mikey O'Shea no harm to go in with the footballers. I suppose you're getting used to high performance, like, and building yourself up. So look, it was at Luke Shanahan, I suppose, for the footballers, we'll probably move on to them shortly, that for footballers to get the likes of him in is very encouraging too, because he's been a very, very good scoring forward for Upperchurch the last few years. And I suppose it's an area maybe that the footballers have been probably lacking in since maybe the likes of Quinlivan have moved on and Philip Austin and Conor Sweeney been injured. So it's good to see the likes of him gone in there.
Yeah, was there any feedback from Liam Cahill then in terms of the likes of, Conor Whelan? Probably didn't happen for him perfectly the first day out against Waterford, but, he came in again against Kerry. I suppose some of the other players like Joe Fogarty, maybe, I suppose Dara Stakelum, Kennelly obviously has been very good so far. Billy Seymour back in, and,
I know we didn't really focus on too much on individual players. I suppose more the collective, and I suppose how they've been working effectively off two squads really for the first while. There's probably the guts of 50 players been in there. You have the core squad of probably around 25 players who he probably knows will be there for the league, and you're probably, as I say, probably trying to nail down the next 10. And I suppose I would say anybody that's played in the vast majority of the guys that played in the 2 Munster League games, bar maybe a Michael Breen or a Garrod O'Connor, are nearly playing for their panel places. Like that's like, you weren't going to put guys out there completely. You needed a bit of experience to help them out, like the likes of Barry Heffernan and Mike Breen, and just guys there to small bit of experience. So like the likes of Kennelly, I think that is Cahill Quinn, Danny Slattery would have done themselves no harm. I think the fascinating one for me will be Darren McCarthy. And I know he's been prioritized. He's in school. He's doing his leaving cert. He's playing Harty Cup, but I don't know. And there's no pressure. Like I just do wonder. Like, could he be a sort of a bolter this year? That it'd be a bonus if he got to that level that fast. But he just seems to have the right attitude, if you know what I mean. And like, he physically looked very, very impressive now against Fernina CBS last week. Very, very toned for a guy of 19 years of age. Yeah,
and after the Kerry game, you were one of many people to talk to Liam Cahill, and just I'll read out some of what he said. We have a core panel that trains 3 nights a week. We also have a good young development panel running in parallel to that, and we're trying to integrate as many players as we as well as we can into our training sessions with our core group to make sure they get a good understanding of what is required from a training and preparation perspective. Some of them were on our panel today and got game time. There are a few dark horses that are putting their hand up, and we'll put a real structure on that by the first round of the league and make sure the players that are in form will be brought with us, as well as keeping guys in the age bracket of 21 plus engaged as well, that the doors are closed, and if they go away and do the work, they'll come back into our plans as well.
Yeah, I know, like, in fairness to Liam Cahill, he has gone through the whole county. Like, I would have, like, the players he did bring in and for trials, like, I'd say a lot of the leading club performers in the last couple of years got a look. Like David Kelly of Ballina, I thought was very, very lively off the bench against Kerry. Gavin O'Halloran, Carrick Swans has had a couple of great years for them. Like Cian Hayes, Burton Who has got a look. He's brought in an awful lot of guys who perform well on club form and that deserve a proper look. I know from my own club's point of view, Colin Fogarty was contacted. I think he had a sort of a hamstring problem before Christmas, so he sort of didn't get much of an opportunity. And I think he is playing Fitzgibbon with Minute at the moment, so it's probably maybe this year's probably gone at this stage. But in fairness to Liam and Michael, like, they really have I think every potential player they think might have something to offer was contacted in some way to see could they do something. So like he's definitely trolled the county. There's no doubt about it for players.
Okay, well, obviously we'll be talking loads about the Tipperary hurlers this year. What about the footballers who start the league this weekend at home to Carlow?
Yeah, we're on to Football League already. We're supposed to the end of January. So Yeah, I suppose a new era at Paul Kelly in as manager. It's starting in Division 4 back there again. I suppose it's the division nobody wants to be in, but I suppose Tipp are back to where they are. This was our form the last couple of years. I said that I suppose the golden era has finished, and look, there's no doubt there was a lot of staleness there last year. The final year, David Power, and I suppose you wondered, how could things be turned around? Like, could Tipp fall even further? Because like you look at the likes of Michael O'Reilly, Kevin Fahey, Lee McGrath have all stepped away, and you're saying Coleman Kennedy, and you're thinking, God, Michael Quinlivan hasn't come back. Like, where are we going to get the players to pick things up? But look, just looking at the squad that he's the official panel hasn't been announced yet, but the two teams, or the two 26s we saw in the McGrath Cup, a lot of exciting young faces there. I suppose we would have seen on underage teams the last few years. Paddy Creedon, he was in with the hurlers last year, but like he was in with the footballers in 2021, and he's a very good footballer. Luke Shanahan, Kyle Shelley, young Costello and Turles Sarsfield. So like, in fairness to Paul Kelly and his selectors, like they've really trawled the county, and look, they know. I suppose the way for Tipp probably to get momentum going is to get freshness in there, and like you still have Stephen O'Brien, you still have Jimmy Feehan, Connor Sweeney is nearing a return after a year out with the Achilles. So it's, I suppose, the fact that they've beaten Limerick in the McGrath Cup, and we know Limerick have had our number the last few years. So look, even that's a positive to have gotten a positive result. And I thought for 40, 45 minutes, they were pretty decent now against Kerry. Look, Kerry emptied the bench in the second half and blew Tipp away. They brought on a lot of heavy hitters, so. But look, I think ambition, promotion is possible this year, but I don't think it's a given. I think, look, it's a new manager. He's trying to get used to his players. We could be in the shake-up, but I think if we have a half decent league, 3 or 4 wins, it wouldn't be too bad. I think promotion would be a bonus, really. And it can be achieved. This is not me playing it down. I just think this is a new era. I don't think you can put too much expectation on Tipp in terms of the league. I think if we had a good solid league, maybe challenging promotion from the end. If it doesn't happen, I don't think it'll be a big disappointment.
Yeah, I think, losing by 19 points to Kerry, you're not going to get carried away there. There are teams higher up the totem pole than Tipperary who, suffer those kind of defeats.
Plus you have, look, it's a very open division. Like Longford won the O'Byrne Cup, you have Laois in there, Wexford, Leitrim, in London, Bet Mayo. So there's no teams there to Tipp, you'd say, on their day, Tipp can beat them, but there hasn't been many on the day that Tipps have won the last 12 months. I'm looking forward to Saturday night and seeing how to get on against Carlow, how style of play and things like that. But I've been pretty impressed with Paul Kelly so far, and the few words he's given. I've spoken to him during the week, just in terms of, I suppose, he's not putting the cart before the horse. He's focusing on developing a culture, and just, you have to build it step by step. I think people who have maybe too large an expectation on Tipp would probably just need to dress it down a small bit, because we're back down to where we were for a lot of our history, and I suppose maybe the golden generation you probably think is coming to an end. So if we had a better year than last year, it would be a success. I suppose the one worry I would have, and you might think it's a contradiction, I think there's a massive opportunity that there's a good chance Tipp could get to a Munster final, because they're playing Waterford. They should be Waterford, and they're playing a Clare team with all their best players nearly gone from last year. And Tipp do not need the Munster final this year, but that means they're in the Sam Maguire. And I personally don't think they're ready. I think another year in the Tailteann would serve them a lot better than a Sam Maguire run. But look, if it happens, it happens. But it's probably one of the quirks of the new system that maybe in time will probably have to be changed. Maybe a Division 4 team can't get into the Sam Maguire or something. It's you could do a lot of long-term damage if you go into the Sam Maguire and you're not ready.
And I want to ask you then about the All-Ireland Club final the other day. So St. Thomas's pulled it out of the bag, 18 points to 17. Aina Burke with the sort of park that, or the sort of point that you grow up trying to emulate in the park, to win it against the O'Loughlin Gales. Like that, considering like the ups and downs they've had over the last 11 years, and winning a lot of county titles, but a lot of pain beyond the Galway Championship, that is some victory.
Oh yeah, geez, and to do it with 14 men, like they really had to dig it out. And I suppose I would have fancied O'Loughlin's, but just on the basis that Kilkenny Galway, it's going to be a tight game. The Kilkenny team will find a way to eke it out. And in fairness, O'Loughlin's threw everything at it, but like every time St. Thomas has got a score, wanted to score, they got it. And like I suppose as impressive was probably the point he got 5 minutes beforehand where he swiveled and didn't even know where the posts were either. I don't remember him ever getting a shot for Galway, or maybe he did, or I couldn't believe it. He's about 29 or 30 years of age. Like I said, Jesus, like this lad is gifted. Like, so maybe he just had a game for the ages or what. Like, and I look at. You can't think after the heartbreak they've had over the years, losing to Ballyhale in a semi-final, they left behind and stuff, that they didn't deserve a second one. And like you'd probably think the one they did win back in 12, it was kind of a soft All-Ireland. Like they beat a very average Kilcormac team in the final.
2 harsh red cards to Kilcormac that day as well.
Yeah, like this was they needed like something like this to validate it. Like, and like they beat O'Loughlin's, they beat Ballyhale, they beat
Ballygunner,
and God, winning Galway is always tough. Like, so the Fair Houston, it was a great final, like 2 great finals, and in the conditions, like they were gripping matches.
And the obviously Owen Wall's disallowed goal was huge, but those red card decisions flying around, and they didn't necessarily favour.
Tough game for the referee. Like there was a real physical edge to it from the start. Like, and it was like watching. If you put Kilkenny and Galway jerseys on them, you wouldn't have known any different. Like you could sense there was a bit of knowledge there, a bit of background. But like it's like the goal that wasn't spotted. Like I'm sure you've umpired matches, and I won't. Like sometimes when there's a goal, an umpire tends to step back because I think it's a sort of reflex action. If a ball hits me, I've sort of you generally take a step back, and like if you can't. If you haven't got a decent view of it, or you can't see it, you can't give it. And look, I've been saying for years, like if Hawkeye can judge points, it can clubs judge goals. Surely a couple of sensors.
You can't judge points.
Yeah, but surely a couple of sensors could be put in under the crossbar to help. Just it was always going to happen that a goal issue would arise. Like it's madness to think that it wouldn't. So we're all human at the end of the day. Like it's all about what you see in your line of sight when it comes to these sort of decisions. Like,
but I don't think they can just put sensors. I think every ball would need a sensor then for that to work properly, because I'm pretty sure that as the ball goes over the crossbar, it's not able to differentiate between your hand and the ball. So I don't know if it knows exactly what it's measuring.
We were told in 2019 it could, but I'm still not convinced Brian Hogan, those 2 points, like Brian Hogan, I'm still not convinced those balls ever went over the bar. Like, until somebody shows me a graphic that proves it did. We've never been shown a graphic. We've been told from Crow Park that can definitely we know it can go between the posts, but what happens when it goes behind that's something I don't think we've ever been fully shown. But people will trust something if they're showing it and they believe in it.
Yeah,
I don't think we've ever been shown that.
I asked a Hawkeye official before, and even the question of whether it's able to differentiate between the hand going over and the ball going over, that was almost like I was asking an unusual question.
Like how hard would it be to put a chip in the ball for matches in Crow Park and Semple Stadium to help that?
Would there be a bit of an expense? Like it already costs 6 or 7 grand every time Hawkeye is in operation.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's not that expensive.
But maybe maybe it's only a certain amount of slitters, maybe just for certain venues that they're there on site. Like, so I don't know. Like, I just think it's something that has like a typical GA thing. That always fix a problem after it occurs. That again, and it was a given where we're going to have a goal issue at some stage. There was no doubt about it. Like, so it's
and of course in an All-Ireland final
Yeah.
it had to happen.
Yeah.
The Harty Cup then. So we had serious drama over the last number of days. St. Joseph's Nina CBS 218, Charleville 117, and then the other one, Ardscoil Reach 18, Thurles CBS 114.
Yeah.
So, from a Tipperary point of view, on the right side of the drama in one game and on the wrong side of it big time in the other.
Yeah, like I just arrived into Cappamore on Saturday, and word was coming through that Thurles had lost by a find, and I just said, God, Jesus, that the good has gone out of this now. It was like newspaper, my head editor's hat on. Jesus, I was thinking just all Tipperary final again. Like, it would have been brilliant build up, Nina Thurles, and of course Thurles were already gone at that stage, and you're thinking, God, the same buzz wouldn't be there, and like, geez, then you're going 15 minutes into the Nina game and they're 1-8 to a point down. You're thinking, God Almighty, this is going to be horrendous. But in fairness to them, they dug it out brilliantly. Like, they managed to get back within 6 at half time, having played against the very strong wind, and they have a chance here, and then got the first 7 points of the second half to go a point ahead, and just seemed to lose their way again. No, a small bit, like, maybe I wouldn't say sat back or got a little lax. They were just a bit careless in their use of the ball going into the forwards. Like, it's like anything, when you got ahead, maybe you get a little careless. Charleville got a foothold in the game. The sides went point for point, then sort of 116 apiece into injury time, and then the drama of the last couple of minutes is incredible. Like we've all been at games where we see points that have controversial ones, or was it in, wasn't out. Like, this wasn't even close. Like, this, I was more or less right behind the free, and it was at least 2 to 3 feet inside the post. It wasn't even close, and like, I don't think anybody was even. I think the umpire had the flag up. I don't think the referee was going to. But one Charleville mentor went roaring down the sideline. For whatever reason, the linesman, and I think we saw a still of it online of the linesman's position as Dara took the free. He wasn't behind it. There's no way he had a decent view of it. Like, so for whatever reason, the score was overruled. Charleville go up the field and get a free and go ahead, and you're thinking, geez, there's going to be absolute murder here if Charleville go on and win the game, and then Nina get the goal in that circumstances. That the ball, just a horrible, like one of those balls in from the wing, it just lands right under the crossbar, and we've seen it so many times, one of those where the goalie can fumble it. Maybe he's going backwards, like it was it had the wind behind it, like it was going in at fair speed, like, so fumble it, and Darrell Tracy on the end of it stick it in the net, and go on and win it. So look, probably we won't know. Maybe Charleville would have preferred if the Darren McCarthy point had been given, but like Nina, just the way it worked out in the end. But controversy was avoided with Nina going on to win it, or at least getting the goal to make it decisive. So that's fantastic. And look, into a final, still waiting a fixture on that Saturday or Sunday week against Ardscoil Reach. So to be like, for Nina, still chasing the first Harty, but considering they only won their first ever Dean Ryan Cup before Christmas, it'll be some double to do, like, for them to break their duck in both in the 1 year.
And I mean, this is more of a wider point then about what might be coming down the line. But for Tipperary to have 2 teams in the semi-finals here, and of the 34 players used between the 2 teams, every one of them was from Tipperary. Then you look at Ardscoil Reach, which has been, a bit of a hurling nursery for Limerick and Clare.
Yeah.
There's 10 Clare players, including Dermot Stritch, who was very good against Killadangan in the Munster Senior Club Championship. But it just kind of makes it, I'd say from a Limerick point of view, they're looking at that thinking, okay, like, we like having the talent of these lads here. But like, I'm sure they're thinking, right, we're bringing through fewer lads here. I mean, in relative terms to Tipperary. But maybe I'm clutching at straws.
I suppose you could look at it that way, but then there would have been a few Limerick clubs on the Charleville team last weekend, and of course Hospital got to the quarter final as well. So like, they weren't short in that regard. But like, there's no doubt that in terms of exposure for Tipp guys at the highest level, like, I think Tipp probably, along with Cork, probably exposed more players at that senior A level. Like, you look at Cashel, they lost to Charleville by a point in the quarter final or preliminary quarter finals. So look, you think Cashel were still at a good level again this year. Templemore lost narrowly to Hospital, so that says they were at a good level again this year. Like, there was a lot of very tight games. Carrigan, great to see Carrigan Shore CBS back in the Harty this year for the first time. I know they had a lot of Kilkenny and Waterford clubs on that team, but still a few from the Swan and Grange Moakler and Davins. You have in any you're looking at the Clonmel High School are in the final of the B. So look, you could think they could have been competitive in A. The Abbey and Tiptown doing well. St. Joseph's in Bursley got up to B this year. So like, there's a lot of good clubs, good schools playing at a decent level. And I suppose we mentioned St. Mary's and Newport won the Munster D senior last week. So look, it's there's a lot of good work going on at schools level. And I suppose in terms of what particularly Brendan Cummins is going to be looking for at Harty level, like, it's, you always thought Harty was more of a minor thing, but definitely it's more in Brendan Cummins' wheelhouse. Was you're talking 18, 19-year-olds that are finished minor. So he would have probably taken a lot from the last few weeks. And look, just disappointing for Thurles was you look at the talent they have, the Robbie Ryans and the Ewan Murrays, and you'd love to have seen them get through. I think Thurles they're still a very young team, so I think they could still be strong for another 2 years in that grade. So it's while I think that what we're doing at underage is pretty good, as you say. Your point is valid, where we're exposing more of our players to a higher level. Like, even though it might dilute it a bit, and maybe we don't win as many Harty Cups, but there's maybe other counties that maybe have a more centralised thing, like Ardscoil Reach did for a few years, and Flannans for a while. I see even they're in. Sure, think have like it's definitely benefiting Clare, like having Ardscoil Reach as another school, like, because you have Flannans and you have Tulla now and you have Rice College. Like, they have nearly 3.5 schools in Clare, where previously nearly just Flannans and that was it. Like, so I think every county is sort of looking to get more teams into the Harty, which is great. I think there's 22 schools in it this year.
Yeah, I was watching the Flannans game against Thurles a few weeks ago, and there was a wing forward for Flannans, Tyke Booty. I just looked up the name there. Looks a really impressive young player.
He's a Limerick player. He's from Limerick club.
He's from Brophy, yeah. So he, like, it's not. I'm not trying to talk down Limerick at all. I'm sure they'll have plenty of talent coming soon. And to talk about the ladies teams with Tipperary, so far with the Tipperary ladies footballers, they beat Cavan 1-4-2, which is good going, and another match coming again this weekend. And then the Camogie team, they've seen their draw for the senior championship. They're in a group with Waterford, obviously, who vanquished Tipperary in the semi last year, Limerick, Derry, Antrim and Kilkenny.
Yeah, go back to the footballers. It's a good start. Like, I suppose in the conditions, you love listening to Tony Smith, their selector, on radio on Monday night. He more or less said the storm in Cavan on Sunday was a crossfield wind, and that's probably really explains the low scoring, because I'd say if you're on front of the post, it looks like the ball was going off in a different direction. So look, you go away from home, get off to a winning start. Like, it's great. Like, so, and seeing Aisling Maloney and Anna Rose Kennedy back from Aussie Rules, like, and fascinating to see how their physical development over the last 6 or 8 months, and Niamh Martin too, she only came off the bench, how that will benefit. How far ahead will they be of not only of their teammates, but of a lot of other counties maybe at that level? Like, so will it be just a distinct advantage or a thing like that? So I'm looking forward to seeing that over the next few months. They're playing Tyrone on Sunday in round 2. It's actually the curtain raiser to the Tyrone Roscommon National Football League game, so it'll be nice to be a decent crowd at that in Oma. Back to the Camogie team, they're not out in league action for a couple of weeks yet, but they've got their championship draw for the summer, and I suppose a lot of familiar teams from last year up against Kilkenny, who they played in the group stage, against Antrim, they beat in the All-Ireland quarter, and of course a rematch with Waterford in the semi-final. Like, so it's I'd say it's a great draw in some ways. It was like, I think Tipp are scheduled to play Waterford in the league, and if form holds, Tipp should be playing Waterford in the Munster semi-final as well. So they're probably going to play each other a lot over the next couple of months. And you'd like to think anytime Tipp are going to be playing Waterford over the next while, they're really going to be focused on it.
Okay, comment here from David Hogan. It's gassed the way Leinster hurling people try to belittle the Harty by saying Kieran's win the All-Ireland anyway. Nina and Ardskull both won All-Irelands the last time they were each in it.
Well, look, there's no doubt, I would say that the Munster champions record in the Crow Cup is not good. Like but is
there more of a consolidation of talent within counties like Kilkenny, where a lot of people go to the CBS or to Kieran's?
It's probably a help. Like her Tipp's talent is more spread out, because like you have Nina, you have Templemore, Thurles, Cashel, Carrigan Shore, and on any given year, Clonmel or the Abbey could have a Harty team. Like that's a lot of spread out talent. And look, we do see maybe a bit more of the consolidation thing going on. You see the likes of Harry Lucknan from Rossgrey is going to school in Thurles. So I'd say that's probably more of a Harty thing, because a hurling thing, because Closh Fogle and Rossgrey don't play. I think they're only at D level at senior. And like Kieran Foley, who was on the Tipp minor team 2 years ago to win the All-Ireland, he's from Borris-O'Kane, but the community college, they only play a C grade, so you're playing, it probably helps for them to be playing A grade hurling as well. Look, it definitely helps Kieran's, and get their consolidating. A lot of their best players go to Kieran. It's the same in Galway, where I think the Loughrea and Athenry generally hoover up a lot of the best schools' talent in those two schools as well. Okay, well, is there anything else you want to touch on before we finish up? Are you happy enough there? Just a couple of things from last night. I suppose we have a vice chairman after last night. I think we're going to be off the air when the vice chairman's issue came up in convention. So I suppose we have Michael Tierney of Bursley, your own clubman, was elected last night as vice chairman. So congrats to him. He beat Mark McLaughlin of Rossgrey. And I suppose we got a fixtures plan for this year for the club. So we're looking around the 13th of October for county finals and a hurling, and the week after for football. I think the county hurling championship starting around the 28th of July. So, and the football the week after. So like generally in around the same dates as last year. So I suppose a lot of teams will probably be hitting the training field probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and it won't feel, I think the Patrick's weekend is when the county hurling league is starting, so we won't feel it back. Everyone's back to be at it soon.
When's your first league game this year in Tipp?
Patrick's weekend is when that's when it's scheduled to be on. So
okay, another 7 weeks or something like
7
that.
Weeks, yeah. I know you're in Dublin. This starts around mid-February. Football leagues and hurling leagues, aren't they? Football
league starts something like the 17th or 18th of February, and the hurling league is the week after. So you're probably a few weeks ahead they got to a month ahead in terms of starting training.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of clubs are probably doing a lot of their S&C stuff, but I haven't heard too many being back in the field at this stage. It's a long slog. I know from my own point of view last year, or even starting in late February, and when did we finish? Early November. I know that was going into Munster, but I think especially club level, if you go too long with lads that mightn't be as too motivated the following year. So I think if you give them a decent break, I think they'll give as much back to you going the other way.
Hunger's great cause. Yeah. Okay. Well, look, that's it for the show this week. We'll be back again next week. Been enjoyable stuff getting back into Tippcast again for 2024.
Just everyone again, if you supported it in the Quirke game this weekend, if you can't go buy tickets, watch it and cover, just give something, buy a jersey, and I suppose get out and support the Tipp footballers on Saturday evening as well against Carlow 6 o'clock. So I suppose we're really back in action now.
Yeah, for sure. See you all again next week.